All right, everybody, welcome back to Coriolis, the Great Filter, produced by Blades and Blasters. This is our Coriolis campaign, published by Free League. This will be session 10? Yeah, session 10 tonight, so we've come a long way, and our space pirates are gallivanting around the Third Horizon, getting into trouble. Tonight we have with us Nasir Amit, played by Walter Peck. We have Thariah, played by Slip. We have Ali Tarek, played by Sim, and Pasha Khan, played by Zypher. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Bring that volume down a little bit. All right. Vision work for everybody?
Yep.
Cool. So, when we last left the crew of the Crimson Wish, Pasha Khan had traveled to Coriolis in an effort to free several members of the Crimson Wish who unfortunately were incarcerated after they got into a scuffle at a local cantina on the space station. That scuffle, no matter how it started, we do know how it ended. It ended with several large factions and powerful factions getting wind of the identities of the Crimson Wish, and it was very clear that they wanted the full weight of the law to come down on the crew members. The crew members were wanted near the Mira system for aiding and abetting a known fugitive. There was rumors of Ali Tarek's and Nasir Amit's involvement in a rebellion on Algol, among other things, and just in general, they were considered space pirates. Pasha Khan, talking smoothly, and Hakam, with his family connections on Coriolis Station, managed to speak with one of the adjudicators and strike somewhat of a deal. And where we stand right now is that the Crimson Wish basically is going to be exiled from Kua, from Coriolis Station, and not allowed to come back until at least something has changed. And the Crimson Wish now have a little bit of heat under the collar, and they have it out for members of the Consortium. As we pick up this session, the Crimson Wish has just left one of the larger space stations on Coriolis after gathering up all the crew. I'll let you guys roleplay a little backstory, but Nasir and Thariah were pretty badly injured, and they've had time to heal their wounds with the aid of medicurgists on the station. And as you look out the rear viewport of your ship, you see Coriolis Station rotating in space with Kua hanging below it like a sapphire against the dark blackness of space and glittering star fields. Will you ever see Coriolis again? That remains to be seen.
How long were we in jail?
A couple weeks. Yeah, a couple weeks. Long enough for Nasir's face to heal up and for you to heal up as well. And after you were let out of the jail or incarceration, I would say probably less than a day before you guys lifted off to leave.
Go ahead, Slip.
Thariah, through the rear viewport, watches Coriolis recede into the distance. Her eyes narrowed, her arms crossed across her chest, her fingers kind of digging into her own arms, her mouth just a flat line of anger and frustration. She turns to the others and says, "Someone must pay for this."
Nasir has one arm resting against the bulkhead, looking out the view as Coriolis kind of slowly fades in the distance, rubbing his face as his new skin and muscle that the docs grafted on after his run-in with the Consortium. Still feels off, doesn't quite feel like his face. He had the silver teeth put back in just because he had grown quite fond of them. And as Thariah laments on what happened, he turns and, yes, you're right. I am angry that I allowed ourselves to put our guard down and enjoy ourselves for a time. And it cost us, and I will not make that mistake again.
Anybody?
But the good thing is, I'm still as handsome as ever.
Thariah snorts, a little wry chuckle of amusement getting through her obvious frustration, and she says, handsome, I don't know about that, but yes, you are looking more like yourself. And I did get my drone parts.
I must agree. He does look as ugly as ever.
Yeah, I was not going to say that. That was very rude, Ali.
Yes. I guess you would say so.
The only thing rude is Ali shooting. It would not have happened to this face if he had shot quicker.
Yeah. I could only do so much.
I think we were hoping that they would make the first move, and we waited for that to happen, hoping to, that the consequences would not come down on us. But I have learned a lesson from that. I will never wait to shoot again.
I don't think it matters. Even if we would have been able to not to take damage from them, we still would have been pretty beat up while we were waiting our trial. The sham that it was.
I, for one, am happy to be out of that orange jumpsuit, and I think now, I may speak for myself, but I believe revenge is a dish best served cold and repeatedly.
This I'd agree with.
How will we get this revenge, Nasir? Where will we find these men layered up? Not on Coriolis. I know that is not where this, what do you call it, a syndicate, or what are they called?
Consortium.
The Consortium.
Consortium is a large conglomerate of very large corporations and agencies. Like the Foundation is part of it. The Colonial Agency is part of it, among others.
Did you not say that this all went back to Consortium interests on Algol?
Yes, the shithole of a planet that Nasir calls home.
It is how I ended up here. I think I have told this story before, where they encroached on my clan's lands, and while they refused to do anything, I did, and while my guerrilla war seemed to be successful with the help of people like Ali, they have very long memories and do not wish to forget the kind of economic damage I did to them.
Did they fail to get a foothold on Algol, or just in your clan's area?
They have been on Algol for as long as I can remember, and I know they were pushing to my clan's area. They aborted that attempt, thanks to myself, but who knows what has happened since I have gone.
Well, I think they might be expecting us to retreat. A lesson learned, our tails between our legs. I doubt that they will expect us to perhaps show up on Algol.
The fringes of Algol is where they are expanding. It is not very hard to find their giant mining equipment and machines as they set up new areas to extract resources or take over old facilities long since abandoned. But yes, if we want to, we could always find my clan, my tribe. They will not welcome me. I am exiled from them. But we could at least possibly learn of their consortium's activities there.
This is your family, your business. Yeah, it has to be up to you. But I would not mind getting some payback.
Well, Algol is probably a great place to start then.
And Thariah kind of lowers her voice a little bit and she says, we had to wait for Pasha to come get us out. This does not sit well with me. Hakam is a native of this place. He could have pulled strings. He could have gotten us out of jail. Why did he not?
That is a good question to be answered momentarily. And he kind of looks and sees that the Crimson Wish is being hailed and goes ahead and answers it.
And you hear a male voice over the transponder. It's a familiar male voice. It's actually the drone smith, the drone technician, Girma from Coriolis Station. This is a shuttle inbound with a delivery of parts and technology for Crimson Wish. It seems you are entitled to one last delivery before your exile to the stars. Over.
Thariah kind of runs toward the comms. That is mine. That is my drone. My drone parts.
Nasir kind of slaps her away. Come down, woman. This is the Crimson Wish. We will receive you in our docking bay.
Of course, of course. You may recognize my name. I spoke with you in the Ozone Plaza. My name is Girma. My sister with me here, too. Her name is Narana. We will come aboard, although I would rather not tarry for too long. The name of the Crimson Wish is somewhat a name of ill repute on Coriolis. You should see the media attention you are getting on all the media stations.
Affirmative. Do we have access to that since it's like a system-wide net, I guess?
Yeah, I think probably since you're like still in orbit over the planet, probably would, I'd imagine.
Yeah, let's get an idea of what they're saying about us.
Yeah, Nasir basically kind of looks up, flips a couple switches, and turns on the space TV and turns it to the news, knowing exactly what's going to happen considering the power of the Consortium.
Mm-hmm. And you see an attractive female in tight-fitting black clothes with graphics behind her. There's what looks to be a hollow image, is like almost 3D appearing image of the Crimson Wish as it rises into the air on its thrusters and heads out of one of the hangars of Coriolis. And she says, in other news today, the crew members of the Crimson Wish have left Coriolis Station. Many of you will be able to breathe a sigh of relief. The Consortium and other powers that be here on the station will tolerate no violence. We intend to make Coriolis a safe and inclusive place for all visitors across the Third Horizon. Departing from us today are two known terrorists from Algol, and then Ali and Nasir's kind of face comes up on the screen. They are wanted in connection with violence near the Demon Star and their involvement in slavery and trafficking of young children. The Consortium, unfortunately, was not able to win the case on a technicality, but the Justicars, in their wisdom, did banish the Crimson Wish from the Kua system permanently.
Nasir didn't have much objection until they got to the slavery and especially involving children and trafficking. And then you can just see this extremely angry look on his face as he kind of shuts the screen off. And that is a lie. I can live with the term terrorist when it comes to people like that, but Human trafficking, slavery, this is outrageous. It is an offense against our gods.
Well, it seems that the powers that be will let them slander us as well as set us up to go to jail. I don't think we have friends here.
And at this point, you hear like the sound of the ship docking, kind of in your docking bay, and a few moments pass by, and you hear the sound of an airlock open, and in walk Narana and Girma, and with them, behind them, on I don't know, the Coriolis version of repulsor lifts, are two sleds. On them, a couple different weapons and Tharia's drone. Here is your delivery. Narana, next to Girma, seems to furtively be glancing around. I don't know, like whether on the bridge or like probably the docking bay you have, and she seems to be looking for something, although she's quiet.
Where is Hakam? I'm assuming he's not in the scene, so somewhere else
He's
on
down
the ship.
he's down in the engine room probably.
I don't want
That's
to
where
make trouble
that's where he'll stay.
for the GM, but I think Tharia would direct them to take the drone down there because she's mad at Hakam.
Where can I leave this?
She gives them directions that please can you take it down here and
Very well. And the weapons?
The weapons you can leave with me.
Some of my finest work. And for what it's worth, I don't believe everything they're saying about you on Coriolis. The hand of the Consortium is long and powerful, but the tongue it speaks with is often full of falsehood.
Yes, they do have the serpent's tongue.
And Girma disappears after leaving the weapons down into the engine room. Narana kind of mentions, and I would be remiss to say, or regretful, if I did not mention the rumors of a long-lost cousin of mine being part of the Crimson Wish. Hakam Ruhail. Does this name mean anything to you? His name has been kept out of the holovids on the station, but rumor travels fast on the space station.
Ali would definitely nod, yeah, because he doesn't know that Hakim wouldn't want to be known by his family. You know, he wasn't part of that conversation.
And Tharia will say, perhaps when Girma gets back, he can answer that question for you. And she kind of has a smug expression on her face.
Yes, he's a very well put engineer.
He's very talented, as are most men and women of my family. We go back many generations on Coriolis. It is our bloodline who built this station, Ali.
That is quite a prestigious thing to have, you know, to say.
Yes, this ship is very unique and particularly, well, the AI on it is special, and it seems only Hakam has the expertise to and the light touch to handle it.
Girma shows back up in the docking bay, and he says, Narana, I saw no sign of him. The ship AI would not let me into the engine room, bidding me to leave the drone outside. And Narana just snorts. It has been many long years since we saw our cousin. Many in our kin would cast him out with shame for leaving the station. But my brother and I, we would dearly like to see him again. If he ever does change his mind, well, I cannot say return to Coriolis, but send us a transmission, and we would indeed like to break bread with our cousin again and learn about his adventures among the stars.
Perhaps he will one day see the light regarding his family. She shrugs. My words do not seem to have any effect, but we will pass on your message.
Oh, yes. I about forgot. There is one more thing. And he finds whoever looks to be in charge here. Is Pasha around or no?
No, Pasha would be on the bridge of the Crimson
bridge.
Wish. Yeah, he would leave the three of them to discuss whatever they're discussing. After they got back from the Coriolis station, he kind of just made a beeline to the bridge, and he's been just there the whole time. Yeah, he wouldn't be right here, but yeah, you could reach him on the comms.
I think Irma, though, would hand something to some person. He's been talking with probably Theriah the most. So he takes a data chip and presses it into Theriah's hand if she would want it. I almost forgot to give you this. This is from a friend, one of few among the colonial agency. Perhaps you came across him during your incarceration. His name is Maurice Tim. He has a message for you.
Yes, I did come across him. He gave me a painkiller before I was beaten.
One small mercy, then?
I don't think he could have stopped it.
Well, he is a kind man, but if stern. Always practical and pragmatic, Maurice Tim. But his heart is in the right place. Well, enough wagging my tongue. My sister and I should get back to the station. It would look poorly on us if we tarried here too long. We were only given permission to give you one last shipment. Even the powers that be on Coriolis station would not deny us our income.
Have we... Oh, speaking of income. Have we paid them entirely? If not, we'll settle up.
I don't think so. We can figure that out afterwards because I don't have the numbers in front of me. I think they're on that spreadsheet somewhere, but yeah, we can just role play it. And he gives you guys like a tabula, basically an iPad for you to settle up on. Very well. Good luck in your journeys.
And you with your business.
And thank you for what you have done for us and these things you bring us. And I most appreciate you do not believe everything you hear on the news about what they say.
Our family has been around for many years, long enough to know a false tale when we hear one. Good day, and may the icons bless you. They go on out the airlock, and soon after you see that their shuttle kind of leave the docking bay.
Theriah will look at this data chip kind of curiously and then hand it to Ali.
Yeah, we might as well go put it down so we can see what it says. No doubt it's going to be directed towards all of us.
Who is this Maurice Tim to you? You said he helped you in prison?
Yes, he said he doesn't believe in the powers that be. There's a different subsector. He wants to help us. Hence why it was easier for us to get out of jail. But yes, he did give me a dose of painkiller to help me get through the beating I took.
Very interesting. Let us go see what he wants.
Yes, but I have no doubt. Once we deal with one side, we'll deal with him as well. To me, he's just vying for power. He'll turn it against us just as easily as he helps us. I'll start heading towards the bridge so we can see what the message says.
As you clack up towards the bridge, you see Pasha Khan there, um, maintaining operations on the bridge on the Crimson Wish, and you see in your sensors Coriolis Station getting further and further away. What's Pasha doing to greet his comrades?
Yeah, as soon as Pasha got back on the ship, he would have made a beeline for the bridge. He would have left the three of them on the main decks. Once he got on the bridge, he would have talked to Hakam over the intercom and gotten the engines running and pointed away from Coriolis Station. While he set up all of that, he then went to the navigation astro charts and he started poring over all the information that the system has with respect to where they are, how far is Algol, how many planets are in the Algol system. And he would also try to look up any and all information that's coming out of the Algol system with respect to insurgencies, revolutions, so on and so forth. His back would be to the door when the three of you enter, and when the bulkhead doors open, he kind of whips around. Did you get the delivery you were so anxiously waiting for?
Yes. It was my drone. I had modifications done.
Excellent.
I decided to upgrade my carbine with something with a little more kick. I mean, it doesn't have the crate with him, but it's a thermal carbine with some special modifications.
You, Ali, what did you get?
Ali already had his weapon, I think, because he just bought it.
So just a beating then.
Yes, a beating, and a nice chip here.
A chip.
Yes, from Tim's himself.
Interesting. Let's see what he has to say, and then while you guys were getting yourself reacquainted with the ship after your brief stay in the holds of Coriolis Station, I was plotting our next move.
And then Ali would go ahead and display what the message is.
As you plug in that chip into the communications system, the lights on the screen blink and LEDs come alive, and a somewhat staticky and grainy picture of Maurice Tim does show up on the screen. It is the man with a high jawline and closely cropped white hair that you remember from the prison there on Coriolis, and it looks to be a recorded message of sort as he begins to speak. He's standing proudly, kind of what looks to be somewhere in the spire on Coriolis, and you hear his crisp voice say, "This is Maurice Tim. Some of you I've already met, but if not, I would like to offer my introduction to the crew of the Crimson Wish and my deepest regrets regarding the recent situation on Coriolis Station. Myself and my co-conspirators did what we could to mitigate the damage done to your persons and property, but alas, it was not enough. At least rest well knowing that without our intervention it would have been, dare I say, much worse. The power and depravity of certain sects within the Consortium know no bounds. Likewise, sectors of the colonial agencies are just as corrupt. But there are those of us that fight for the agency's ideals too. Our founding ideals: exploration, charting, research. Unfortunately, these pure principles have fallen by the wayside as many leaders within the agency seek to line their pockets with beer and forget that much of the Third Horizon is still a brutal, untamed wilderness. But I digress. I'd like to keep this transmission somewhat short and avoid any unwanted detection.
And so I'll get to the topic. And the topic is Algol. Am I correct in assuming that this is your next destination? It makes sense. And I think we could help each other. If you're interested in bringing down Nima Narosha, meet my rebel contact on Algol. His name is Mikhail Nineflowers, and he leads a coalition of tribes in the highlands that surround the industrial center of Yasul, along Algol's temperate zone. Well, Yasul is an industrial nightmare. The surrounding mountains and jungles are yet untamed, and thus are Mikhail's stronghold. If you make your way planet-side, meet with him. My sources say that he is in possession of intelligence that will lay much of the Consortium low. After they are cast in a foul light, my loyal and good friends in the agency here are in a position to move against them legally on Coriolis. And that is a good thing for the entire Third Horizon. I look forward to hearing back from you, but if not, may the icons smile upon you, and 1,000 blessings. And then the transmission ends, and Maurice Tam's face is stuck in a frozen, sardonic smile on the screen.
Are there any coordinates or anything that would give us a place to look for Mikhail Nineflowers on this?
Yeah. There would be coordinates and local survey data on that chip. There's only 4 or 5 large industrial centers on the planet, and Nasir and Ali would probably know where Yasul is, and they know that a couple other things about the geography of Algol is a lot of it's a wasteland. It used to be very beautiful, large salt oceans that were drained by various corporations over the past 100 or 2 years in an effort to harvest trace and precious minerals. And so there are 2 kind of temperate zones near the equator of the planet, and these are kind of adjacent to some of these large industrial zones that are still habitable by people, and that's where a lot of the slave trade goes. Pasha Khan has no doubt been looking up this information as well, and so that Yasul might ring a bell for him if you've been kind of plotting your next move.
Yes. So Pasha would look at the rest of them, go to the display and eject the data chip. We should keep this safe. If ever Maurice Stem chooses to double cross us, then we at least have proof that he was in close cooperation and working with us. I've been looking at Algol and what's been happening there. If we are to take out Nima Narosha, then we would need more than just what Maurice Stem offers. Just this information will not be enough. In my dealing with most powerful organizations, I've seen that they tend to think about the organization as a whole first, and then the individuals. If we can embarrass Nima Narosha and make the embarrassment extremely expensive, she might find herself out of favor with the consortium. And that is when we can personally meet her face to face, and the 3 of you can do whatever it is that you have been dreaming of doing to her. To that end, I think, yes, we should go to Algol, meet with this Mikhail Nineflowers, but also we should start getting information as to what kind of business the consortium does there. Are there any shipping happening between Algol and the core system? What kind of ships? What are the cargo? What do they contain? Start targeting these ships. Start targeting their people, their facilities. Make noise. Cause death and destruction to them. Basically make it expensive for their interest in Algol. And we blame it all on Nima Narosha. We leave messages, warnings, and stuff she has done to us. At which point they will send her out there personally to take care of it. And when she fails, they will just abandon her like they abandon everybody else when they are no longer an asset but a liability. This is what I have been plotting all this while. Thoughts?
I think it sounds perfect.
Thariah is
I
just
think-
nodding and grinning.
The areas that they are mining and developing, these are my favorite terrain. It is something that I was bred for, raised for, trained for before I left Algol. I think we attack there. We do not have to worry about fighting in space. We destroy what they possess before it ever can leave the planet.
Excellent. Excellent. So in that case, we take the two-pronged approach. We find this information, keep it, and we also destroy targets on the ground, make it expensive. And then they will have to send her to us. They will have no choice. So we're all in agreement. Algol it is. Death and destruction to Nima Narosha and the Consortium.
I'm looking forward to it.
As am I.
Has Nasir ever heard of Mikhail Nine Flowers?
Give me culture with a +2 since you're from Algol.
Nope.
Eesh. Wait, no, it's off.
Right?
It says 0
Right.
D6. No, it's something's off.
Does culture require specialty?
No, you should just be able to roll it from your character. It's just the roll is completely off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't roll any dice.
Culture does require at least some skill. That might be why. Do you have any ranking in culture?
No, sir.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you can't necessarily even roll it then. Roll something else though. I just want to see. Roll something else. I want to make sure it works.
Alrighty.
Ranged combat, please roll
I got
ranged.
lots of ranged combat.
Yep, roll that. Ah, okay, it works.
It works.
Okay.
Still got 0. Still works.
It must take into account that you have to have some training in it in order to do it.
Here, let me check. I know technology, yeah, because you need specialty for technology, so it rolled 0. So there you go.
Mhm. So you're not a cultured man. You don't know necessarily who that is, but what you do know is that the highlands kind of surrounding these kind of industrial centers on Algol. It's got like Scotland. It's where all the savages live that cause no end of pain and death by 1,000 cuts to all these operations in the industrial centers. And that's basically the conflict that has raged on Algol for these many years. So you might not know who Mikhail is, but you know the type of dude he is. A guerrilla. All right.
Go ahead.
If you don't have any other role play, we can go ahead and make your jumps.
Let's jump.
Oh yes, let's jump.
So let me
Yeah.
bring you on over to the third horizon.
We have been waiting 9 sessions for these jumps.
1. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3 jumps.
Wait, 3 jumps?
Yeah. Well, three star systems away. It's only 1 jump. Because typically, as long as you're preparing and you're not like jumping blindly through one of the portals, you kind of go into hibernation, set your cruise controls, like jump from Kua to Altai, and then you go portal to portal there in Altai, then jump to Awide, and then Algol finally.
Okay,
And
okay.
that's your destination. So there's a couple things you can do to make your chances. I think Nasir's a pilot, so he's going to have to make the rolls. Just a couple things to make your chances a little bit better. Let me find it.
I think we can go with like a convoy and
Mm-hmm.
preparing or something.
Ships. Here you go. Portal jumps. So there's fees and convoy for a price. You can go there, kind of wait for a convoy to arrive, and then pay a fee between 5,000 and 10,000. I'll just roll for that. And then you guys all jump together. Portal jumps with this coordinates calculator gives a +3 to the pilot test. There's also other things you can do that are more risky. You guys would probably want to wait. Now there are also some portal jump modifiers you can do. Like if you do some prayers and stuff like that beforehand, they will give you a +1 to your jump. So I'll let you guys kind of role play preparations to get into stasis and all that sort of stuff. And if you want to pray to the icons, you can do that. If you want to say "fuck you, gods of this world," you can do that too.
1 minute. The first one which you said, which was convoys, right?
Mhm. Yep.
From our ship. So can you explain? While we're in Kua, we need to get to a portal, correct? And I'm
Mhm.
assuming this portal looks like a large ring out in space, a whole bunch of ships kind of lined up on either side, waiting to make the jump through that.
Yeah, so they all kind of wait because if they jump together, they can all share information regarding
Cool.
the charts. And so large groups going through all together at once have a higher chance of success rather than just one, because you don't know if your chart might be a little bit off. And so I think the role play thinking is everybody has their charts. They might all be a little bit different, but averaging together, you're going to get a pretty accurate jump.
Okay.
If that makes
Okay.
any sense.
Yep, that makes sense. So what I would like to know is that from our ship, with the computer systems we have, being in access to the portal controller at Kua, could we find out which of these convoys is going to Algol? But not only that, could be a consortium convoy or a convoy that we could hide with while we get to Algol.
Oh, absolutely. I would say that'd be data gen. You're kind of scanning the manifest, trying to look through all the records and figure out who to jump with. Absolutely.
Could
Now,
you
did anybody
roll?
anybody train in data gen, or do I have to bring out Raven's character?
I would say just maybe use Raven's character for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so explain what you want him to do, and I'll bring him out here.
Sure. Brother Ibrahim, I think I have an idea how we could get to Algol undetected. Kua is pretty popular with Coriolis Station being here, and we have met a few Consortium agents. But we also know that they have dealings in Algol, interests in Algol. There must be ships flying from here to Algol. If we could hide amongst them, be as part of their convoy, make us look like a freighter carrying parts that do not need questioning, maybe we could get ourselves to Algol, and not only that, find ourselves being able to dock on the planet in a place that would be most helpful to us, and then we can start our campaign from there. What do you say? If you could flex those fingers of yours and hack a bit here and hack a bit there.
Yeah, Ibrahim is at the communication center on the ship. He has what passes for a cigarette kind of hanging out the side of his mouth, and he takes it, and blue smoke rings swirl around his head, and he puts that cigarette down in the ashtray. Yes, I think I can make something like that happen.
Excellent. I think I should be able to help him with a command, maybe.
Yep. And he says, but I could use a few extra sets of hands. The traffic coming out of Coriolis Station is, dare I say, thick to quite thick. There's a lot of ships to scan through, Pasha Khan. Anybody that has data gen, or at least one rank, can add and assist.
Not me.
Does Thoraya have it?
Nope, I got rid of Dijin and swapped it for piloting.
So how about this, right? Like with command and knowledge about ships, could I assist him in looking at the different? It wouldn't be a full-on manifest, but it would be showing like kind of like when you go to an airport, you see all the flights that are lined up and everything that's going in and out of the airport, right? So there should be a base manifest of all the ships that are going in and out of this particular portal. So using my maybe command, I can detect through that list of these set of ships look kind of consortium, like the size or what their supposed contents are.
Absolutely. Right. I'll give him a +1.
Yep.
All right. Let's roll here. Data gen, and I'll give him a +1. Nothing. Pray.
Pray. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll click on the pray.
Click the pray.
No,
Hey!
it did not.
It probably won't let you do it since it's my roll. I'll just do it quick.
Okay, good. I click at the pray.
Nothing.
No. Oh.
We re-rolled 10 dice?
Jeez. Gee. So sad.
Wow.
And Ibrahim's reasoning says, Captain Khan, whether the Consortium is doing business with Algol, they've hidden their fingerprints quite well. I'm no slouch at this computer thing, and I can't find a trace of any exports going to Algol, either personnel, material, or otherwise.
This is interesting. Very interesting.
That's
Well,
a bad roll.
That's a bad roll, yep. Well, in that case, we just have to be more careful once we get there if they are able to hide so well. Cool. So then we go the normal route. We pay money and
7,000 beer.
Oh, we don't even get to split the cost with other convoy people. Oof.
okay, 7,000 beer it is.
7,000 beer. Let me just make a note of that. You guys are all in your little pods, ready to go?
Yep.
I assume Nasir is going to be one of the last ones in, as he's doing a lot of the calculations and whatnot. But he gets Ibrahim and Hakam and... Go ahead.
Yep, if you pray, you guys get a +4. If you don't pray, you get a +3 by going with a convoy. And I get 1 dark point. Last one.
Nasir will go ahead and pray once he gets everybody. Gets Ali and all the gear secured, and now Thoraya, try not to dream about me. It's a long jump. And then he just clicks the sleep button before she can respond. And then he does a prayer. He prays as, the autopilot, the AI, takes him in to the inner system near the sun by the wormhole, the portal, and begins his calculations.
Pilot check with a +4. You guys are rolling pretty badly, and some very bad things can happen if you screw up a jump. So
No pressure.
Yeah, right?
Ooh. Hey, critical success. I don't think anything special happens except you make it there. Quite in a quite comfy fashion. Actually, if you want, with that, basically the only thing going to Algol from Kua will eventually be like an export there, right? Like most passenger ships aren't going there or whatever. So with that, I will have you kind of come out of the portal and scanner range of the other ships heading down to Algol, so you could kind of go in with him if you'd like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Once they wake from their slumber, as they make the trip to the Demon Star in the trinary system, and Nasir's one of the first one awake and kind of thanks the icons for the positioning and how the ship ended up in with a group of other ships descending towards the planet, and smiles on the fortune as the rest get up. I have some good news, everybody. It seems our entry might be a little more fortuitous than we originally thought.
Is that so, Nasir? Tell me more. What has happened?
See for yourself, and he kind of waves towards the the canopy, the cockpit's view, and shows the other ships how they're going. And this will help us maybe avoid a few prying eyes of the Consortium.
Excellent. Yes. Hide as well among these ships.
Yes, once we get lower, we can break and make for Yasur. I'm assuming, like, some of the areas where Mikhail and those are, they have no real, or do they have any clandestine, landing or any sort of port of any kind?
Yeah, you probably will be able to figure them out. Now, getting down to the planet's surface is going to be a little bit more difficult. But you have three and a quarter days of kind of sublight travel to figure it out. But yeah, I mean, if Algol's kind of locked down, there's going to be like an embargo or picket line that you'll have to go through in order to get down. But if you are kind of camouflaging yourself amongst the other consortium ships and passing yourself off of one of those, it's going to be easier to get down to the planet.
I guess, and this would be a question for you mechanically. I mean, we have the ability to cloak ourselves. We can turn off our transponder, and can we just hide our signature by being close to some of the, like, Class 4, Class 5 bulk haulers? Or
absolutely. If you get found out, though, no good.
Well, here's the other thing. I'll probably spoil it. I mean, I don't think this ship's atmospheric capable, so we'd have to go down in a shuttle anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's correct. We have to go down in a shuttle.
It's like enter low orbit and go down or whatever. So yeah, you'd probably have to turn on your stealth and turn off your transponder to have any chance of not being found out, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Basically, we would pull, riding underneath, or cloaking ourselves within the signature of a larger ship while also cloaked. And once we get in range or they start descending, use the shuttle and then break off at some point and head towards the mountain range, the highlands. That'd be my guess or advice.
Yeah. I'll let you kind of just role play that, what that looks like as you kind of fall in with a bunch of other ships. And you could probably still do passive scans. And Ibrahim is Rob's character, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of giving you instructions as you kind of drift down towards low orbit, kind of in the shadow of one of these giant bulk haulers. Easy now, Nasir. Easy. This place is brimming with Consortium vessels. I have several Foundation patrol vessels on our scanner.
Nasir's remaining focused, looking at the instruments and the control panel in front of him, and maintaining as close as he can to one of the bulk haulers. And do not worry, I will keep us from their prying eyes. We will make it to Algol. Do not worry.
Ibrahim kind of turns back to Captain Khan. Captain, what are your orders? Continue stealth mode? Passive sensors only?
Yes, I like Nasir's idea. stealth mode, passive sensors only, make us a hole in space. We don't exist. I would like to avoid all detection. It's been not too long since we made a splash in Coriolis. The Consortium would know our names, at least for a bit. We need to get to the surface undetected.
Very well. I'm routing additional power to the stealth system. He kind of gets on the radio, or the comm. Huckham, down in the engine room. Route all power to stealth. We want to be cloaked against the blackness of space. You've got it, Ibrahim. He comes back in here. As like your stealth turns on and you see passive sensors only. It's very quiet as you kind of drift down behind this bulk hauler. I want Nasir to give me a pilot check.
Alrighty, pilot check. Is there any bonuses on this ship? I don't recall, I'm sorry. Or can I do it off of the token, the Crimson Wish token?
If you're setting the pilot roll on that Crimson Wish, which I think you are, pilot is set to Nasir. Yep, you can do it off of that.
Let's give her a try. Is that... No, that didn't work.
Or you probably just do it off of yours. It should be the same. There you go. Tell me what it looks like as you barely maintain yourself in the silhouette of this thing.
Nasir keeps the ship on the opposite side of the planet as they're approaching to one of the large bulk haulers, keeping the ship as close as it can to, almost the exhaust or the engine wash of their reactors as they glide through space. A few times it seems like he might be too close, or to the naked eye it appears that the ships might collide or scrape, but he never does actually come into contact. You can see he's visibly sweating, taking it quite seriously, knowing what he's done and experienced on Algol. And as time passes, you realize that no one has noticed, and they seem that the planet in the distance slowly gets larger as it seems it's worked.
Ibrahim says, "Easy does it, Nasir. Easy does it. No time to rush. Stealth is holding. That patrol vessel is sending out active pings like it's nobody's job. But we're past, and we're into low orbit now. I recommend we shut down all non-essential systems and board the shuttle if we're going to go planet side. Of course, I can stay here with the ship."
Excellent idea, Ibrahim. I believe you and Hakam can keep the ship in low orbit from prying eyes, and we will go down and meet with this Mikhail.
Indeed. It's unlikely we'll be found out.
There's nothing on the surface for you anyway. It is quite cold where we are going, freezing.
Very well. All right. The shuttle is ready to go. I'll see you in a few days.
May the icon smile over you while you are stuck up here alone. Or should I say with Hakam?
Very well. Goodbye, Nasir, Captain Khan, Ali, Thoraya. May the icon smile upon you.
Nasir kind of leaves the controls and goes to pack up and looks to Ali and the trio that's going down with him. And I'm not joking. If you have not been here before, I know Ali has, but it is quite frigid. The highlands, the frozen wastelands, the taiga forests. It is all unaccommodating if one is not prepared for it. But me, come from a hearty people. We call this our home, but most people call it a frozen hell.
Thoraya sneers a little bit at it, and she says, Debaran is not known for its cold weather, but believe me, I am no wilting flower when it comes to harsh conditions. I will go prepared. You will hear no whimpering complaints from me.
Nasir gives Ali a okay, look.
The things I must do for my friends. I am a wilting flower and I shall complain.
The Raya laughs out loud at that.
So tell me, Nasir, what must I wear? How many layers? I like to keep myself warm. A warm body helps me think.
Yeah, you'll answer how many layers. It is always many.
Very well.
Do you have any
And-
sort of invarsuit or some sort of mask to take the sting from the harsh air that comes down from the poles?
It's a good question. Exoshells. I have exoshells. No.
Is Nasir planning on wearing an exoshell?
Nasir, heavy armor has a full helmet, so...
Okay. Yeah, I'll just wear heavy armor too.
I shall just wear an exoshell then. If it can keep me warm in the coldness of space, it should help. On Algol,
That
I
does
think.
work. If we can find this Mikhail quickly, we should have some sort of facility or refuge from the harshest elements.
Very well, you shall lead and I'll follow. And as Pasha is putting on his exoshell, if there's a mirror or a glass, you can clearly see he's glum. He has to leave his fancy clothes behind and be a commoner. Yeah. You can see him visibly kind of wretched almost.
Yeah, Nasir, basically any extreme weather gear that is on the Crimson Wish, he strongly advises to pack it. In addition to preparing his new weapon, he puts on his heavy armor and then a caftan over that, like a gray kind of camouflage to blend in with kind of the bleak terrain of the highlands. Puts his helmet on, seals it ahead of time, and then gets like a anti-grav lift or something to load the rest of the equipment on there.
And as you enter the atmosphere of Algol, the sun of the demon star kind of hangs high over your head, super bright light coming in through the viewport of the shuttle as you kind of skim along the atmosphere and dive planetward, eventually breaking through what seems to be very thick cloud cover. As you go through the cloud cover, it's brilliant hues of blue and purple, and every once in a while you're and there's like an electric storm. You see kind of lightning off in the distance. Your stomach might rise a little bit as the shuttle kind of starts to jitter and thump, and then eventually you break through the cloud cover, and below you, around the planet's equator, are pock marks, it looks like, on the planet, which are these large industrial centers. And nearby them are large, harsh mountain ranges. As Nasir pilots the shuttle closer and closer down towards the planet, every once in a while a gale force wind catches the shuttle, and you'll either list to port or starboard, but the excellent pilot, of course, regains control of the shuttle. And what you see as you go further and further, you see these harsh mountain peaks. And then as you kind of follow the coordinates to where Mikhail's stronghold would be, you see these deep, dark, vast kind of valleys in between these mountains. Ibrahim kind of says up to you, Nasir, "You won't believe this, Captain, but we are seeing heat signatures down below. It might not be as harsh as Nasir says,
It seems that this rebel has found a way to exist even in the most harsh of climates.
Ha! I would very much like to meet this industrious person.
I'm picking up thermal signatures. They look to be geothermal, heating some of these valleys in between the mountains. I'm taking us... Nasir, I'm sending you coordinates.
Understood. I will make for it right away.
And what you guys can see on Ibrahim's readouts are exactly that. Like, it is extremely awful, but in between these mountains, every once in a while, you see like this huge output of geothermal energy. And I think that makes a cool story for Algol. But more than that is just to make the art that I picked match. because in the book it says there's the temperate zone, so I didn't think they would be as bad. So we're going to have you land. It looks not so frigid, but out of this valley it is, certainly. But this valley is like this cocoon, almost this microclimate. So I'll let you guys roleplay that as I go take a leak here real quick.
Much has changed since I have last been here. I would never in 100 years expected to see such progress on the periphery of civilization.
I'm going to take a quick bio. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Soraya's like looking around, not impressed. Yes, the climate here is so harsh, she says, taking off her jacket.
I swear you would have froze to death. It was cold, was it not, Ali? I am not crazy. I did not take one too many rounds to the face.
Well, I don't recall being in this part too much. But elsewhere besides here, it's very cold and harsh.
Mm-hmm. Thoraya nods.
Do not doubt me. This is madness.
Oh,
It's alright. I'm really sure that you guys will be able to experience it sooner or later.
one can hope. Until then, I think I overdressed.
Whatever it is, whoever built this place is industrious, which means that they could be good businessmen, which means that while we are taking care of the consortium, we could find ourselves making some lucrative deals to find and bring supplies to said person. After all, we have a ship in space. And these people are stuck on this planet, which means they would need supplies of all kind.
That is
Food.
true. But I don't know if they have the beer to be able to buy all that stuff.
They might not have the beer to buy our stuff, but they might be able to exchange it with something else that we could then exchange it somewhere else and make money. Let's not forget, while we want to hurt the consortium, we also need to keep making beer if we are to keep flying that beautiful machine up there.
The people, the tribes and clans in the highlands and the wastelands, they are not industrious. They want to be left alone. That is why they live there. And they have the temperament for the climate, notwithstanding what we stand here looking at. But like Ali said, rebels, while noble, usually lack the beer to say, compensate us for our time. It is one of the reasons I never ran supplies or black market goods to those still fighting here. They had no way to pay. There was no way to turn any sort of profit. If anything, if we want money, we need to find a way to account requisition Consortium equipment and resell it somewhere. The mining equipment we can take back to our home system and perhaps sell to those that work the asteroid belt. I'm sure the quality is much higher than that of what they're accustomed to using.
I trust her.
Now you're thinking like me, Nasir. Mining equipment.
Well,
I'm back.
yes, now that you say that, there was the deposit that Thoraya found. Perhaps we can acquire some of this consortium equipment and use the miners that are already in the asteroid belt.
I think that Pasha has already laid that foundation. Spoken to some miners and gotten the process started.
Yes, but if we have great equipment to go with it, then we could outpace anybody else who wants to come and claim that vein.
Indeed,
And with that, Pasha starts smiling again.
we were operating on a tight budget. So that would be helpful.
Yes, Pasha does not want his comrades to operate on a tight budget ever.
I trust you, Pasha, to turn any situation into profit.
What I miss?
Talking about
Just
ways to make
making-
money.
Yeah.
Deciding how we're going to turn a profit helping rebels
Mhm.
while accomplishing our objective.
Oh, I would expect nothing less. So, Nasir, as you are at the shuttle's controls, as you spiral down towards one of these geothermal vents, which represents a hot spot in the otherwise frigid and desolate environs of Algol, you see beneath you there are actually spots of green. And in the middle of one of these spots of green, you see buildings rising from, I wouldn't call it a jungle, but it's a large forest of coniferous trees with this mossy type substance kind of strung throughout them. If you can think of Spanish moss, but kind of strung together in a spider web fashion over pine trees, that's what it looks like. And you see exactly where you need to go. There looks to be a spaceport there. There seems to be a few other shuttles docked, but you see no personnel whatsoever right now.
No welcoming party. Thoraya, perhaps you want to use that newfangled contraption of yours and see if we can find where our hosts are currently hiding.
We can try. And she'll deploy the drone and pull out her security tabula.
What does this thing look like, and what does it look like as it deploys? Because I don't want to rain on your parade. This is a pretty cool tech that you have here.
It's I've got a picture of it, but I can't pop it in the screen. I think it's pinned. Let me see if I can grab it. Yeah, it's kind of generally egg-shaped with two long arms that come out of the midsection with different appendages and grabbing implements that it can deploy off of those, and two little appendages on the top that usually give light, or that's kind of where the sensors and environmental scanners come from. A central section that gives readouts, and then recently it's been modified to have another arm right at the top that you can attach a weapon to, and she has a carbine attached to it, and it's been modified to respond to very simple voice commands and to track targets that she tracks with a corresponding little piece that she can put on whatever weapon she's using in the sight. So basically it'll shoot at what she's shooting at, but it's still an environmental drone, so it can still do that sort of job too. So it's that sort of thing. It's just your standard drone. I don't know exactly. A small recon drone. I don't think it really gives any details on range or whatnot in the book. That's kind of up to you.
Yeah, probably would say the same as yours. I'd say it's the same as your player characters.
Okay.
So you deploy this thing out of like maybe the cargo hatch of the shuttle, and the scene is that the camera pans out as Pasha's kind of there on the bridge of the shuttle. Ali is probably like geared up with his machine gun, and Nasir is at the controls of the shuttle while Thoraya looks through a second pair of eyes through this drone, and it probably gives like a visual feedback on the sensors of the shuttle. And you see as this drone descends down through the trees, it sees a spaceport with a couple other shuttles kind of deployed there, but it's just eerily quiet. And then eventually you kind of hear something kind of, you hear some noises, and you hear the shouting of men. Not that. You hear the screaming of men, and kind of you see out of the forest surrounding this base run several creatures on all fours, but then they stop and they kind of stand up on hind legs and they roar. And you hear a man's voice as he kind of comes out of cover, and he goes, "Now! Now, men! Now, women! Let them have it! Light them up!" Boy, that's going still. And you see a man kind of come out of cover with carbine. You see other men kind of come out of cover, and they just shoot down with their weapons. Just they start mowing down these creatures that run in through the woods. Unfortunately, one of these creatures just leaps up into one of the buildings and grabs one of the men by the throat, throws him out of the window. You just hear him scream as he falls down towards the ground and just splatters on the ground. Soon after that, Mikhail Nineflowers aims his rifle in and takes that creature out with his carbine. The action lasts probably less than 30 seconds, but after it's done, the smell of ozone on that spaceport is just thick, and there are the corpses of maybe a dozen of these creatures, and eventually men and women kind of come out of cover. "It's all safe! It's all safe now!" And Mikhail kind of looks skyward to where the shuttle is hovering. "Are we expecting any visitors?" Everybody just kind of shakes their head around them.
Perhaps you should hail them, Nasir, before they decide we are enemies.
Nasir kind of nods in agreement and opens up a local channel or whatever was it Maurice might have provided to us. And this is Nasir of Clan Amit, here to speak with Mikhail.
Does Clan Amit mean anything to him?
It might be. It's one of the, I'd say, I don't want to say how sizable, but sizable or larger clans that have been on Algol for, a long ass time.
Clan Amit kind of raises his communicator to his ear, and he looks to all the soldiers on the ground, and they point their weapons kind of skyward at the shuttle. At ease, men. Let's talk a little bit before we fight, eh? This is Mikhail Nineflowers. Am I mistaken that Clan Amit of the native house of Algol? That's a name that I haven't heard for a long time. I thought all of your house was wiped out years ago after the Consortium arrived.
I do not know what the current status of my house is, my clan, but I left some time ago. I am here not as a member of the clan, but as someone here to speak with you on behalf of a mutual acquaintance, requesting permission to land so we may speak face to face.
Of course, of course. Land at your own risk, though. I dare say. You've been under attack for many days by these beasts. No doubt sent here by the colonial agency and their sect of planet rapers and destroyers of forests and oceans. Hurry up, come now. Land your shuttle. This respite won't last long.
Acknowledged. And with that, this here brings it in and lands on an open landing pad. And as the hydraulics kind of vent steam and whatnot, he lowers the or the cargo ramp so the group can exit and speak with Mikhail.
As that ramp kind of closes, you guys kind of all step out. It's not warm, but it's definitely not frigid either. Very humid air hits you. The scent of kind of rotting vegetation kind of fills your nostrils. Mikhail has a helmet with a visor on, and he flips up the visor, and you can see his face. A handsome man with a close-cropped beard. He takes his helmet off and tucks it under his left arm. And he has kind of messy brown hair. You can see also bristling from the buildings above you, like barrels of carbines and whatnot that were shooting those creatures. And at first they trained their weapons on you, but after Mikhail gave the stand down, they kind of stick their barrels up in the air, and you can hear them kind of muttering to themselves. You can hear the sound of weapons reloading and that sort of thing as well.
Nasir kind of takes point on this. He goes, I am Nasir. I am part of the crew. This is Pasha, the captain, and Ali and Thoraya. They're friends of mine. Tell me, and he kind of gestures to all the moss and the green that he does not recall. How long has this been here? I do not recall any sort of vegetation outside of the taiga since I have last been here.
Then you think like one from the Foundation or one from the other hundreds of corporations of the Consortium. Never being creative. Never becoming one with the planets you inhabit. Nasir, or Mr. Amit. If you delve deeply into the crust of Algol, you will find that there are geothermal heat supplies. They just need to be uncovered, cultivated. They can provide power to a place like this. Although unfortunately, I think that we have been discovered. These beasts that invade us now and hunt my people, they are not natural.
Are any of the beasts close to them, or are they further off?
Yeah, there's a dead one at your feet, and the blood is oozing slowly towards your shoes. More importantly, it's oozing towards Pasha's. You're out of your finery now, though, aren't you? You have an exosuit shell on.
Yeah, but Pasha is Pasha. He's going to take 4 steps back, almost like fall off this platform. He's already worried, he's not paying much attention to what Nasir is saying. He's kind of looking around. When he takes his helmet off, this place is humid. And then he kind of looks at his armpits and he realizes he's going to start sweating very soon. And he's just...
You can kind of justify it to yourself that this valley is just because of the GM's choice of art. I'm making this up, but how this valley has this geothermal heat supply, right? But over it is this thick cloud cover, and it's almost like this bubble that's like humid and hot, and like the air can't escape because of the surrounding mountains, and it has this cloud cover that almost forms like a dome over it. So this little pocket of humidity just stays put.
Yeah.
Nasir takes a knee and kind of looks over, poking and prodding the dead beast. And he goes, you see, I don't need to tell you, the Consortium, they only care about resources and taking everything of value from this land. They would not care about this little paradise of yours. And why would they waste their own soldiers when they can herd these beasts after you and accomplish the same goal? How long have you been fighting them?
It hasn't been that long, and he kind of cocks his carbine. looks at the magazine, sees that it's full. Perhaps a week, perhaps a little more. We've lost many men, but they're beasts. They will not overcome us. We've gone through worse. Mr. Amit of Clan Amit, who do you bring with you? And who is this mutual acquaintance you speak of?
I speak
Before
of-
Nasir can say anything, Pasha steps forward. Ah, Mikhail, if it's all the same to you, could we have this discussion somewhere a little more pleasant?
Mikhail looks to the sky. Indeed. The sun is about to rise. We'll have several hours of respite. These creatures like to attack under cover of darkness. The rest of you and your crew can join me in my quarters.
Pasha turns to Nasir. So, this is what it feels like when it's dark? Oh, the icon saved me. I should have stayed on the ship.
It is an unforgiving place, but it forges men out of boys. It tests you, puts you to your limits, so everything else in life is easy by comparison.
No, this is not my kind of place. I am used to riches, opulence, warm sheets, high thread count, fine wine, fantastic hookah. Nothing like this seems to be around. The things I do for my friends.
Nasir will kind of stand up, give the beast a last kick, and then follow Mikhail to his quarters. And once there, he'll introduce him as, this is Pasha Khan, captain of the Crimson Wish, and this is my friend Ali Tariq, a mercenary, and Saraya, a fellow mercenary, I guess you could say.
What's Thariah and Ali doing?
Thariah is looking around curiously, trying to get the lay of the land. Mostly, I think she's letting Nasir take the lead, this being his home world.
Ali's doing what Ali does best. He's sitting there in his full kit with his machine gun. It's not raised up to be ready, but he's just keeping his eye out.
Oh. What can you tell us about those creatures that you were fighting?
I know little of them. Never seen them before.
They are not
They
native?
don't seem... No, they're not native at all. They seem to be led by some sort of alpha or pack male. We've been unable to slay them as of yet. Every once in a while, she makes her presence known, though. In the deepest, darkest of night, we can hear her roar in the distance. But she sends forth waves of these minions against us. If you guys do have culture, you could make a roll to see if you know what these things are. Because because they're not native to this planet doesn't mean they're not native to somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm going to roll culture because
We've
I'm
es-
cultured.
We've established
think-
Nasir as uncultured swine.
Yeah, you went. Yeah, since they're not native either, you probably let me look up the stat block on these because you get a bonus or a penalty depending on how rare they are.
Sure.
You get a +2. Yeah, you get a +2 on this.
Sweet. What? Are you kidding me?
Nobody else has.
concerned
I'm guessing
himself.
nobody else even has culture.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's a big fat
think
negative.
so.
Yeah, Pasha is trying to, he's looking at the beast, but he's not stepping too close because it's still oozing. And you can see him, he's constantly trying to adjust the exo shell. He's not used to wearing exo shells either. And it's clear that he's looking, but he's not really looking. And he seems to be muttering constantly under his breath.
And
These-
yeah, none of you have seen anything like this at all. Mikhail simply says, our theory is much of what you said already, Mr. Amir. That the Consortium sends these against us so they don't have to risk their own men and women or risk any bad press that may make itself back to the central systems on Kua. It is their way. They are cowards. They would whittle away at the rebels here on Algol till none are left. And they would mine, dig, and burn this planet until there is nothing left.
Tell me, does the name Maurice Tem mean anything to you?
Yes. Just as not all individuals in a clan are one way or another, not all individuals who have reached high society on the Coriolis are the same. Maurice Tem is of the old guard. A friend of mine even, I would say. How do you know him? And you guys are kind of up in this. It's not an office per se. It's very Spartan. Probably not up to Pasha's standards, of course. But it's basically what looks to be a sort of office for Mikhail Mindflowers where he conducts, his rebel operations from the highlands to strike down at Yasul. Most of the things inside are constructed of a very dark wood. The colors are kind of dark greens and blues, and there is a fireplace running, believe it or not, in the corner. And you hear the crackling of a fire as you talk. Did Maurice Tem send you? I was not expecting him to send an emissary.
The enemy of our enemy is perhaps our friend, or he is known to my friend Ali here, and he knows that we have issues with the Consortium, and the best way to deal with them is here on Algol.
Then your goal aligns with mine own. If you would fight against them, I would consider you a comrade indeed.
How long have you been fighting against them?
Since I was born. But here, in this valley, over 10 years. But no one would believe the atrocities I have seen. Nay, I have video evidence. I have testimony. But there's no way to get it to the core. I did tell Tim that one of these days I am going to help him bring the Consortium low. He is a good man, but I only fear that he would take the king's place. You kind of use that king as a kind of turn of phrase. And we would have a different boss, but over time, same as the old boss.
The Consortium will continue to consume regardless of who is at the head of the organization. Of that I have no doubt. But perhaps we can at least slow or dissuade them from expanding into this area and the other areas of the clans and highlands.
I agree. I agree. And we shall join forces. But you are only 4. We have dozens.
Yes, perhaps us 4 can do what your dozens have not. You said this alpha, this prime of yours is causing you great problems, attacking you, hunting your people. You have
Yes?
no idea where it is?
No. They come under cover of night. I dare say. They are not natural. They've been created, I say, in some lab. Perhaps the Foundation has its hand in it, or some other dastardly sect of the Consortium.
Do you know where the closest Consortium facility is, their closest operation?
Yasul, he says. It is just south of here, along the equator. Look for the sulfurous smoke rising from the plains and the slag heaps. It's hard to miss.
And how easy is it for your people to infiltrate this Yasul?
Well, he says, easy to infiltrate, hard to attack the infrastructure of the place. Slave labor, all sorts of unseemly things happen there. We tend to disguise ourselves as slaves when we go in. But right now we're losing too many men and women to these creatures to mount an offensive.
Nasir kind of looks to his friends. What do you think? Take care of this problem for them and then move on to the next.
Man, I think if we are gonna stay here and fight the Consortium, then the more defense we have, the better. So I agree with it.
Thariah shrugs and unholsters her weapons and says, I'm ready to shoot something.
Pasha?
Yes, I guess. Pasha is kind of walking around this whole office and, is touching things and kind of rubbing it between his index and thumb, realizing how dusty and dirty this whole place is. And he kind of sighs with that, one of those, the ones where you kind of give up. Yes, let's go find this alpha that Mr. Nineflower speaks about. Maybe we'll find more evidence of what the Foundation is doing. Genetic manipulation, you say. Maybe we'll find out what drives them. Maybe we'll learn more. Maybe it's something we could use against the Foundation. I think we should use any and all weapons we can that the Foundation has used against these people, against the Foundation. But I will complain all the way.
Mikhail kind of looks to Nasir. Your friend, this man. He would not survive in the mountains of this planet.
It would be challenging for him.
Very well. Let me show you what I have so far. He kind of walks over to his desk and hits a few buttons. Any media you would like, any interviews with my men and women, I can download it onto a tabula for you. If you ever return to Coriolis, maybe they would believe you. You have some standing there, yes?
Nasir
We
turns to
do
Pasha.
not have standing, but we do have a member of our crew who is in high standing with Coriolis, and through him we can get it to the right people.
Very well. And Mikhail kind of goes to his desk and starts swiping through files, and he puts, something that looks like a thumb drive into the computer. As he does it, you just see kind of hundreds of clips kind of fly through the screen. You see images of long lines of slaves kind of being trundled down into a mine. You see some of the slaves kind of faltering and falling to their knees, and you see Consortium guards kind of put a pistol to the back of their head and just pull the trigger and just leave the body where it lays, while their friends and family just kind of have to walk over the bodies. You see what looks to be shuttles full of young boys and girls being shuttled off planet, and just very disturbing images, like they're all made up in makeup, like very over-sexualized type of stuff, probably being trafficked. Some of the stuff that they're making up about you is actually happening on the planet. And there's also a lot of business documents where the consortium is kind of, the leadership is skimming off the top, taking beer for themselves rather than returning it all the way to the various factions of the consortium.
Uh, when Pasha sees that, he would pause Mikhail for a bit. Could I roll culture to see if a particular name stands out in any of that? The name of Narosha.
Yes.
Roll well.
Narosha is on the take. She's on the take.
Sweet.
So she's like the chairman of the, she's like the chairman of the board basically. And she is just skimming off the top. Her finger is in all these pies. That name probably means not that much to Mikhail, but you notice it. And you even see her face kind of overlooking the slave operation. Like her and a few other well-dressed people are kind of on a skiff kind of up high looking down over, just very, I forget the movie. You know the image, right?
Yeah, yep. I know what you're talking about. Pasha kind of raises a finger asking Mikhail to stop. Well, we meet again, Miss Narosha. Seems that you have been a naughty consortium directorate. Nasir, Turaya, Ali, look at your tormentor. See what she's been up to.
Nasir, obviously, seeing what they're doing, especially to the kids, is upset about it. And I cannot wait to bring this woman down low as can be, and then we will crush her when she is broken.
Yes, it's... If anything that needs to be done, I'm glad we are here to do it. Not only to clear our names, but to put this place down.
Any woman who would do that to a child is a living blasphemy to the gods, to the icons.
I promise you this, Mikhail Nine Flowers, that this person in particular will scream the loudest before the last breath of life leaves her wretched, destroyed, broken body. That I can promise you, if nothing else.
I do not know this woman of who you speak, but if she is the one behind these atrocities, hearing her scream would make me sleep better at night. Music to my ears.
She holds a high position in the consortium, a director. And it seems she is double-crossing her own people, which means now we have something over her head. This has been a most fruitful exchange of information. We will have to think and plan wisely.
Yes. Get this into your friend. The friend with reputation on Coriolis. Perhaps he or she could do some good with it.
Yes. But we should be always careful with information. Information can be discredited. No, we should be careful and wise with how we release this and how we entrap the actors from the consortium on this planet. I will have to spend some time reading these documents and images and break them out into smaller packets. And then we should plan our campaign, our reverse campaign of besmirching the good name, and he kind of does air quotes, of the consortium within the Kua system. I'm going to take much pleasure in this. Much pleasure.
You have the day. Did you introduce yourself yet? Or
He would have,
Yeah.
Nasir would have said he's Pasha Khan. And I am sorry, this is not the usual environs I'm used to. I'm a man of much opulence and luxury. So it has been almost a miscarriage of duty, I must say, by me not introducing myself in my proper way. And he kind of gives a low bow with a flourish. I am the eminent Pasha Khan, captain of the Crimson Wish, leader of this fine crew, purveyor of fine wine and smoker of fine hookah.
If we could have some small pleasures returned to Algol. Even a couple bottles of that wine, I would be most happy, Captain Pasha Khan. We are a hard people. We do not ask for much. We ask to be free. We ask for our children to be safe. We are luckier than most here in this climate. Most fear that they won't live another day. They fear that their children will be taken in the night for slavery. Their husbands or wives will be impressed into the mines. We fight against that power. We fight against the Consortium here on Algol. As I know, Ali and Nasir here are no stranger. And that drone, Thariah, is it? I've never seen such a thing.
Well, it might be of some help here. She kind of pats it. It has good eyes and good aim.
Very well. I must slumber. We have been up all night repelling these beasts. I fear another attack may come at sundown.
Shall we stand at the watch then?
We should. You have nothing to fear. We are here to help you.
Do not be alarmed if you are awakened by the sound of very loud gunfire. She looks at Ali. He
Ali smiling behind his mask.
isn't very quiet.
And Mikhail Nineflowers, before our time here is done, you and I are going to have a very important chat on commerce, economics, and trade. What you have on this planet must be what somebody else out there in the system seeks. We must find a way for you to control your destiny, for you to mine at the way you wish to mine your planet and take part in its riches, so you can be truly free.
I look forward to that conversation, Pasha. I will rejoin you in a few hours. I will not let the sun set without aiding you in this fight. Goodbye. Make yourself at home. There are quarters below in this tower. You will find refreshments and whatever you need.
Thariah looks around for the refreshments.
Yeah, they're like a decanter. Looks to be filled with some sort of brandy with a couple cups next to it. But you do smell like there's a spiral staircase that seems to go down the tower, and there's probably like a kitchen down there or whatever, something like that, where you can get some refreshments and food.
Well, no sense fighting on an empty stomach. Thank you, Mikhail. I hope you have a restful night's sleep, although she kind of glances back at Ali again. I somehow doubt you will.
I will see you soon. Goodbye, all of you. I do believe this is a blessing bestowed upon the icons. I feel like the tide is turning. And he disappears into a bedchamber, and a heavy wooden door kind of closes behind him. It's not an airlock, just an old school door with hinges. You hear that clatter, and he is gone.
Nasir's going to spend his time doing two things, trying to, one, talk to anybody that's awake about the patterns of the beasts and when they come out primarily, or where they come from, or if there's any sort of specific direction. And then picking up on what was said earlier, asking anybody about news of Clan Amit, or if they are truly wiped out as it was suggested.
So you're able to talk with several of the rebels. You talk with one gentleman whose family was dragged out of the camp by these beasts. He tells you they're not completely beast, but they aren't human or sentient either. I don't know what they are. They're mutated in some way, altered. I've never seen such a thing. They come at night, and they seem to be drawn by loud noises and, dare I say, heat.
And do you have any idea where they take people when they drag them away? Have you ever seen where they go?
No, we've tried to track them. They aren't hard to track. They attack in herds or small packs. But after losing so many men in that attempt, Nikhil said to call it off. His plan is to fortify the base and try to draw them in, kill the leader at some point. I don't know if that's the right plan or what. I suppose it's better than traipsing through the jungle of this valley, searching aimlessly for this thing.
And these packs, do they attack until they're all dead, or do they retreat sometimes?
Sometimes they retreat. When I assume their master calls, I hear a hideous screaming from deep inside the woods. But it's very, very rare that happens. Usually we'll take one or two men or women, drag them off before they leave. It doesn't seem to bother them when they're slain.
Thank you.
Well, what else you're trying to figure out? News of the clan?
Oh, any news of Clan Amit?
Yep, so let me see here. There's Yasul. Okay. So you gather rumors that most of your clan was killed in a purge near a place called Akandar o Sharif. And they kind of try to dissuade you from going there at all. They say that nothing is left. It's a hopeless type of situation, that your clan resisted and they were put to the knife to a man and woman.
Nasir kind of glad he keeps his helmet on to mask his reaction to that, but thanks the individual for that information, storing it away for another day. He is set on eventually going there to see what has truly happened to his clan, if they are gone.
Actually, give me an empathy check. Take 2 mental damage.
Oof.
Just for flavor. As you hear that, as far as you know, all of your clan, I don't know if you had family members or there or what, was wiped out to a person.
Nasir,
Ali, did you have any ties to this planet too? Or were you just kind of helping out Nasir?
Well, he was there. He met Nasir there. He might have some ties. I don't know how great.
You probably knew some people too. Make me an empathy check.
Empathy check.
Two mental. Sad. You're so sad. So basically, all of the people you fought with, Nasir and Ali, as far as you know, they've all been killed. Because you wanted to go run around the stars and make money.
I never should have initiated that guerrilla war against the Consortium. It seems I was the ruin of my clan. They had warned me, but I did not listen, and now I am responsible for all their deaths. I need to make amends.
Yes. Everybody we fought by, gone.
Thoraya comes up with
Or
from the
what's
kitchen with like food for everyone and kind of reads the room, and she's like, "Who died?"
everybody?
It seems my clan has met their ultimate fate and been wiped out because of me.
She furrows her brows. Because of you. That does not make sense to me. How can it be because of you?
I was warned not to interfere with the Consortium, to live and let live, as it is not directly interfered with my clan, but I ignored the advice of my father and the elders and led a group, including Ali, to attack them and convince them to stay away. And it seems now in my absence, the Consortium attacked and captured almost all of them at Akandaro Sharif and killed them all as revenge for what I had done to them and their mining operations.
Thoraya's like wordless for a minute. And then she sets down the tray and walks over and says, "You cannot blame this on yourself, Nasir. People like this. Yes, I have had experience with not the Consortium, but Andabaran. Similar forces. People like this, they will not, they would not leave your people to live in safety. Eventually they will kill all who are in their path or enslave them, merely because they are in the way, they are inconvenient. Perhaps." And she kind of thinks about the lines of, all the slaves they had witnessed. Perhaps it is better this way. Better that they are gone than they endure the suffering of the people that we have seen here. All we can do is do what we can to drive the Consortium out. Resistance is the only way. Submission will not lead to salvation. And it never would have.
Perhaps that is true, I do not know, but before we leave, I need to go there and see if it's true. If there's anyone that survived even a chance, I need to do what I can to save them or get them off world.
Perhaps. Knowing the greed of these people, perhaps there are some that are among those that were sold.
They're down in the pits.
And we shall go to the place of massacre, so you may pay respects to your people. Yes,
Thank you.
that is the least I could do, my friend. What Turaya says is true. Resistance is only the way to throw these people off your world. If you had not fought back, they would have eventually come for your clan. Greed knows no bounds. That much I know. And like anything else, greed can be used for good or it could be used for evil. Now you must get greedy, Nasir. Get greedy with your revenge. Get greedy with the justice that you must bestow upon the consortium and their likes. The only way that you can make them hurt is through the loss of beer. This information we have, and while you guys were talking, Pasha has been scanning through all the documents that Nine Flowers gave them. This information is good. If we are smart and release it correctly, it can damage their reputation. But reputation in Kua is not going to help the people of Algol. No. Reputation might hurt them and set them back a bit. It'll look like they would have disappeared, but they'll change their tactics. They will mutate into something else and come back stronger. No. If you want them off this planet, we must find key strategic initiatives that they have, destroy, make them hurt. The reason that they can do this to this place is the reason that makes this place. It is a backwater planet. Its people are happy with what they have. And if they were left alone, life would have gone on. But alas, that's not going to happen ever. So the only way they can fight the Consortium is to be like them. Control all the interests on this planet and then force them out. And use the control to buy influence and power from other planets through trade, commerce. And that's how you beat them. The thinking of these people need to change.
Very well spoken. We will hurt them as much as we can. But
Anything else you guys want to do during the day?
Are we waiting for these things to attack, or did we decide we were going to track them or track the leader?
It's up to you guys. It's up to you guys.
I mean, during the day, I'll send the drone out. I'll see if she can track where they're coming from remotely.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So you send it out during the day. You're hanging out with your VR goggles on or whatever you have for this thing. You roll out into and you see obvious kind of tracks through the quote-unquote jungle. Eventually the going gets kind of tough as the vegetation gets thicker and thicker. Give me what's drone operation? Probably technology.
I mean, it depends. Do you want it to be observation or technology? Because they're
do tech first.
Okay.
Yeah. You got it.
Okay.
So yeah, so just role play for me how you deftly pilot this thing down through the vegetation and you find what looks to be some sort of den. Tell me what it looks like. I'll let you make up for it.
Yeah, I like your idea with the VR goggles. She's even got some gloves that she can put on for really precise manipulations and maneuvers of the
Guillermo souped it up for you.
Yeah, of the drone. And so she spends probably 2-3 hours looking for the smallest traces, scanning the environment for anything that it thinks is out of place, not native, traces of elements and whatnot. Eventually she comes upon, enough tracks and enough traces that indicate like foreign materials that she's able to see them under a certain kind of infrared. They put off some different sort of heat signature than the surrounding area, and she follows it back to as she follows it, it's joined by more and eventually becomes a very clear trail back to where they are. Where are they?
Give me an observation
Okay.
now. All right, you see it. So you see that all these tracks kind of converge in one area, and it looks to be some sort of cave that's underground. But what you also see, Thariah, is kind of extending from the top of this cave, kind of camouflaged among the trees, is a very large antenna that you can see is putting out some sort of signal. And the drone is like right outside the cave, and you see a giant creature kind of come outside, and it has like some what looks to be, like Lobot in Star Wars, like the little headset.
Mhm.
It has like a little Lobot headset on it, and it just looks to that sky, like towards where that tower is, and just gives a like a loud howl into the sky.
Oh. So does when you say large antenna, what does that mean? How large is large?
I mean, it's not large enough you're going to be able to see it from miles away, but it goes past the
But
canopy
it's
of
like
the
too
jungle.
large for the drone to like mess with. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, the drone will, get some zoomed in pictures of this creature with its headset, and then she'll start pulling it back. She'll basically put it on autopilot back to the area where they are. Just have it home in on her signal. Keep it at a higher altitude so that it's not going to get knocked down by anything from the land. And she takes off her headset and starts pulling her gloves off excitedly and says, I found them. I found them. The creatures, they are in a cave. I tracked them back to it. There is some sort of very large antenna they're receiving. I think it is sending the signals to the creatures, spurring them to action somehow. One of them, she pulls up like the display on her tabula showing the pictures from the drone, was wearing this.
As you look at the pictures, like they're very kind of short stop. If you ever seen like hunters trail cameras, right?
Mhm.
And like the thing's face turns and looks right into the camera of the probe, and you get this eerie sense that it saw the probe. It's like when Bigfoot turns and
Yep.
looks at the camera.
It's an ugly thing, isn't it? I think it will look much better once its face is pulp. And she kind of hoists her rifle.
Bo, you said these are mostly nocturnal. They come out at night.
Mm-hmm.
How close is it to night then?
Couple hours.
How long would it take us to get to their lair?
Couple hours. I mean, because you flew that
Right.
drone a couple hours, right? So, but they look fast. They look very fast.
Well, we need to set up an ambush.
We can assume that they might be headed in this direction and set up halfway. I can see where most of the tracks converge, and she, starts kind of pinching and expanding, the path she followed on her screen. Right around here.
One question I have is, did we make a kind of a determination on the antenna?
Like in what way?
Like, can we roll something to kind of figure out what that antenna
Oh.
is, or if that probe is still there, can we see
I
what
could
that
maybe
antenna is all about?
roll technology.
Yeah, I'll be about that.
Okay. So I
Yep.
know a little bit about it.
Yeah, your theory is right. It's a relay antenna. And I think that your assumption is right, is that somebody's beaming signals to Lobot the werewolf.
So do we want to ambush or do we want to make this our focus? And she kind of circles the antenna with her finger.
Both.
What if we go out now and hunker down and wait for the beast to pass us so it is more isolated this prime? and then we attack it while its offspring or whatever you want to call it is attacking the base here.
It is a gamble that we will disrupt it before it can do major damage here, but she shrugs.
What is your determination of this base? Is it easily defendable?
The cave?
No, our
This
base
base.
over here. Yeah.
I think if you have the drone out and we know they're coming, we'll do much better than these people. And I believe with Nasir, Thrai, and myself shooting, they will not last long. Perhaps
No.
we help repulse the attack and then we go deal with this creature.
I think if you guys could get disabled the antenna, like it was said, they would all stop. All we need to do is hold off the attack until that happens.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Perhaps then we get the assistance of some others here. Strength in numbers. While
What
we
if-
repel the attack, they take down the antenna. We ambush them and they go around, and she kind of indicates a path, their normal path. Head to the antenna and take it down while we engage them halfway there.
Turaya, what if you and me join some of the forces here and make our way to the antenna while Ali and Nasir keep this place and engage the enemy? Because you know technology, once we are there, you might be able to find the right way to disable it if we can't destroy it.
She shrugs and looks at the others. It's true, I might be more helpful down by the antenna, but I don't like... she kind of turns around, it looks at the others and stops what she was going to say and just says, I'm sure they would be fine. Just separating the crew, it doesn't sit well with me.
My one concern is if we destroyed this antenna before we destroyed the Prime, what happens when the beast is no longer on a leash taking orders? That might be just as bad, if not worse.
If it's a beast, then it would have no reason to attack unless we attack it. If we leave it alone, then it would not want this place unless it considers this place its territory. In which case, yes.
Well,
There is...
at least we know that if the antenna is disabled, the attack against the base was stopped. We can converge after that happens.
All right, so is the plan then that Pasha and Thariah are going to go try to take out the antenna? And are you two going to stay here and defend from here? Or are you going to try to intercept it? The group that's going to come and attack the base.
I personally would say repulse the attack as a group, then go take out the antenna as a group, but that's my 2 cents.
Did Thariah see on the tracks that these creatures all come to this base, or do they split off and go attack different places?
They all come here. They all come.
So if they all come here and we repel the attack, then they're all dead anyway. And the antenna doesn't really matter that much.
I mean, yeah, but we don't know if all of them are going to come or only a subset of them are going to come, right?
That's true.
Like the first attack we
And
saw.
we don't know
yeah.
how many there are.
And they also said that the Prime may or may not come. Sometimes the Prime comes along with them, and sometimes the Prime doesn't.
All right.
And also, too, we say we would protect the base, so if we leave the base.
That's true. Okay. Well, let's set up either in the base or just outside the base then and prepare to repel the attack. And we'll see if we make it through. But time-wise, we probably need to start killing things.
Yeah, we don't have to do it tonight.
I would
Sure.
still say that if the three of you stay back, then Pasha can go with the contingent from these guys and try and take out the tower. Because in case you can't push these things back,
Ah,
like if they come in a
yeah,
bigger
yeah.
number,
I like that idea because Pasha's got more leadership stuff going on, and in an
could
actual
you
firefight, not as
You could
important.
also maybe get some support from Hawkham. Have him talk you through stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, and could you control the drone while you're fighting, or is it like an action?
Well, the drone is programmed basically mechanically. I talked about when I basically get an extra quick action shot from it. It attacks.
I see. Okay, so then let me put it to you this way. Could you use your drone right now, given that we have a few hours, to find a more secretive route to that?
Sure.
And then I can download it to my tabula. So now I have a map and we can just use that to get to that place without being seen by
Yeah.
these.
I mean, she
creatures.
would try to find a place that didn't have a lot of tracks from these creatures. That was kind of a good way to bypass their usual route.
Yeah, and then find our way to the base of that station and then destroy it.
To the antenna.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I mean, it's 12:30. Let's give a little bit of role play of you guys setting out on this mission, like a little bit of a montage, action movie montage, and then we'll probably not get into the action tonight if that's okay with everybody.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think the Raya is gonna. The scene kind of ends with her.
Yeah, I'll change the scene for you guys. It's a little cooler. A little more nighttime. There you go.
I'll let other people maybe be setting up like the traps and stuff. I think the Raya is occupied with the drone, so we see her, with the goggles and the gloves on again. Occasionally she takes them off and points something out to Pasha. They're kind of both leaned over the tabula, discussing the route and the benefits of each, option in hushed tones, while probably there's a lot of noisy preparations going on in the background.
Pasha is nodding along with whatever Thuraya is saying. He's making notes on his tabula and downloading the maps. If they can get some better shots with how big the antenna is, once he's done talking to Thuraya, he would talk to Mikhail and have them, like, if they have any sort of demolition or any sort of like explosives, he would start like collecting them, selecting people to take on this raid that he's leading. And he's like, trying to, like, he's being finicky with his exosuit and he's trying to like get it all suited up. He's checking his carbine. Yeah.
Nasir kind of identifies a kill zone, an open area that they would come charging in with the help of maybe some of the other rebels. Put some barrels up, maybe some sandbags somewhere to, put his new toy at and get a good field of fire, and kind of starts marking the distance with his scope on the ranges available. And then looks to Ali and kind of nods, thinking back to the old days on Algol while the two were fighting the Consortium, and kind of waits for that blood-curdling cry of the incoming beasts.
Yeah, Ali would try to find some way to slow them down as they go through the kill zone, since they are fast. I don't know if we can throw some extra water down, make it muddy or what, so they're slipping and sliding.
What we can do is I'll find a cool map, and then you guys on Discord, you can kind of tell me like how you guys are going to prepare for everything, and then at the beginning of the next session, we'll open up with all these with Pasha going to take out the antenna and you guys kind of holding off the base.
I like that idea. We'll have it all set up by the time the session starts.
Yeah. That way we're not kind of
Murder.
going into something and have to rush. We can have, because combat's only fun if it adds to the story. So we really want to show the expertise, I think, of Ali and Nasir and Taraya. Not necessarily Pasha in the combat, but
Yeah. I'm not going to be doing much in combat anyway, so.
but you have a good role to play, so that'd be nice.
Yep, exactly.
All right. Anything else before we call it a day?
No, sir.
And Pasha might prepare a speech.
Of course.
Not mine. Pasha will prepare a speech. One of these. This is our time speech.
All right. And we'll play it. Do the old David Bowie. Play us out. All right. Thanks for playing.
Thank you.
Fun as usual.
Of course. Fun as usual.
Yes.
You bloodthirsty bastards will get your fill next session. I want to see how these new weapons work.
Yeah, we got to get it figured out on my one underbarrel accessory. See if we can break that out at one point.